Hello and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. I was looking at the books I wanted to share with you this time, and I got the sense that any one of them could be a starting point. I don't know if that's the case with all the things, but in this case that does seem to make sense to me. I'm going to start with my old standby, the Golden Nature Guide. I guess they're standbys because in some cases that was my introduction to the scientific world that book covers. This book has got 278 species in full color, and I just now, where are these species? The full title is Fish, A Guide to Familiar American Species. So this is in American waters. In fact, when it begins on this page, it's got 6 little panels here, and they're American fish. Brook trout, cold water, fresh water. Channel catfish, warm fresh water. Cod, cold salt water. Tarpon, warm salt water. Eel, hatched in salt water, lives in fresh. Salmon, hatched in fresh water, lives in salt. It just seemed like such a perfect little example of the diversity of life, which is something all these videos give me a feeling that, wow, these other creatures are sharing this world with us being men and women. So, the fishes, by F.D. Ormandy, and that's one of the young readers' nature library books. Now, I showed you this book earlier, but I think could be a good starting point as well. Now, a little something about the time that these books were written, because this book was published first in 1962 and it's still available. That's pretty remarkable. This book was published in 1970 in the series for adults, and then it was 1979 when they came out with this book appeared as one of the books for young readers. So they did editing and arranging and thinking and the process. I mention that because this book publication date was 2023. Lots of interesting new information. Now, this is fish, as was this of the world. And I like the title, Around the Ocean in 80 Fish and Other Sea Life, because she does include some shells and life and mollusks. And so, but a nice little play here on Around the World in 80 Days, that Jules Verne book that we referred to in one of the videos. Very attractive cover. There are illustrations by Marcel George. Dr. Helen Scales did, in my opinion, a wonderful, wonderful job selecting out of umpteen possibilities animals that had an amazing history or something unique about them. And because it's so current, it's also got the current research, findings, studies, and in some cases the sad plight of some of the creatures mentioned. So just to give you a little feel of what the inside looks like, flapper skate, and I read, started with that, and I said, whoa, if they can continue to be as informative and delightful read as this, and well, the next one, the Atlantic common cuttlefish, and yep, and I can say, having gone through them, there was not a one out of the 80 that I didn't find informative, enlightening, I was going to say delightful, but sometimes it wasn't delightful, it was sad. She organizes them by bodies of water: the Atlantic Ocean, Mediterranean, Indian Ocean, which carries over to the next page, Pacific Ocean, Caribbean, polar seas. So it is a worldwide look at the status of lots of sea life. Eyewitness book. I really like these books, and I've shown you some others, and I've come to figure out that one of the things that I like about them is that they have a wonderful sense of layout. This is the title page. Tells you it's written by Steve Parker. And most title pages, that's all that you sort of get. But in this case, it's a feast for the eye. And the next page is a page that they're required to sort of give the information of copyright date, who is it published by, and cataloging information, and most people gloss over. In fact, in some cases, this information appears at the very end of the book. But here it is. But to brighten it up, there's a banded pipefish. I say, banded pipefish. And the contents, very friendly to the eye. And there is a fully inflated porcupine fish. And I remember seeing them as a somewhere in my youth. All about rays. I like this. View from the top, view from the bottom. A photograph showing an Atlantic manta devilfish is the largest living ray, weighing in at well over 2 tons and having a wingspan exceeding 20 feet. And here's half a dozen people to give you a sense of the size. A delightful book for any age, really, but certainly I would think from 9 or 10 up even. this is a book by Mark Kurlansky. And I've read a number of his books. He likes history, he likes the ocean. He wrote one on paper, history of paper. And when we get back to trees and get to some of the uses of trees, musical instruments, paper, I'll show you that book. This book is the follow-up to a book that he wrote called Cod, a biography of the fish that changed the world. And it had such a positive response from people and reviewers and things that the publisher, I don't know where the idea originated, but their teamwork was developed between the publisher, Mark, and S.D. Schindler. And they put together this book that a 10-year-old and up would find interesting. Beautiful book. Now, that took them about 3 years to move from the hardcover book for adults to this. It took about the same time to move from a book on salt called Salt, a World History, published in 2002, and this came out in 2006. I think I should give you some idea of what it looks like inside. It's worldwide, and it's salt from the ocean, salt mining in places I never knew. Rock salt is still mined under Cleveland and Detroit today. Most rock salt is extremely pure. Whoa. And there's well, it's a trip around the world in its own way. A salt trip around, the salty tale of the world. Simple animals. An encyclopedia of the animal world. Now, there's 12 volumes in that, and I got this as Greater Victoria Public Library discard. And I was, of course, fascinated by this creature on the cover. So that pulled me in, but I marked this particular, it's a crustacean. This freshwater flea, the Daphnia, and there are 7 eggs for its young. And just the view of it reminded me of a fossil that's been preserved. The last book I have to share with you is Richard Armour and Strange Monsters of the Sea. Now, the illustrations have a lot of emphasis on the teeth in the open mouth, and they're not all there's a layout here. That's the moray eel. The poems inside are quite delightful, but there's emphasis on that word monster. This is the marine iguana. But it's not a vicious animal at all. So I would have liked to have seen something like unusual creatures of the sea or unique creatures of the sea. I think sometimes man tries to make out that these animals are extremely dangerous. And yes, in some cases they can be, but certainly no more dangerous than a car. So I'll leave you with that. And I apologize for being picky about words. Goodness knows I have a hard enough time with words. Well, thanks for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.